Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Tempest. Its however long it takes mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. What? Look, I've been watching the original series of Star Trek, it's on my mind, but when I really started to think about it, this Mass Effect game, this particular one, probably more so than the other three, this is probably more so like Star Trek than the other ones would be because, well, let's be honest, one of the things that we really are going to be doing in this is exploring. I mean, after all, this is a brand new galaxy that we have very little knowledge on. And so when you think about it, and they say that the Tempest is a ship that was literally designed for exploration, for a Pathfinder, which is basically another form of an explorer. Exploration is supposed to be a big focus on this, so why wouldn't we, start to think of that whole opening intro from Star Trek about that? And I hope you all enjoy my William Shatner. It's something that I've been practicing lately, watching the original series. Anyways. Let's go around and have some chats, shall we?
Glad you stopped by. You'll pardon me if I keep an eye on our vector?
That's probably smart.
Nothing like being on the bridge of your very own ship, is there?
You mentioned something about helping design the Tempest?
Test pilot, mostly. Plunging through the Nemean abyss was almost a preparation for the Scourge. Of course, it took a whole team to build the Tempest. I was the only one to come to Helios, though.
Why did you?
What can I say? We poured our hearts into a ship that wouldn't realize her potential until Andromeda. I could have stood on the shore and waved goodbye, or took the leap to see how it all turned out.
I get it. Like leaving a good story half-finished.
The team liked that one of us was going. It felt right after all we went through. I remember Serena debugging line 2281 over and over, chewing that green pencil. Tion and O'Connell arguing equations, tapping on the console, 3 drips of coffee on the corner.
You remember all that?
Oh, yes. Solarians have photographic memories, and apparently mine's unusually sharp. Like my past is still happening. Though I suppose with the Solarian arc missing, you might not get many chances to compare.
Did you hear anything about the Ark back in the Nexus?
Not a peep. Isn't that strange? You'd think there'd be something. Not that I dislike your company, but it's lonely without other Solarians.
Don't sweat it. We'll bring the Solarians home.
Of course we will. I just have to be patient, that's all. I should get back to it, but thank you. I was afraid the Tempest would be mothballed after we lost your father. We built her for this. She deserves to be in a Pathfinder's hands. Please, come by any time. What can I do for you?
I haven't actually met many Solarians.
Careful. Depending who you ask, we're conniving spies, genius researchers, or meddling scientists. We have to pack a lot of living into 40-odd years. Everything gets accelerated. Lines blur. I just hope we don't repeat our old mistakes out here.
If you helped to build the Tempest, you must know plenty about her.
Just about everything. By memory. It was quite the effort to get her working. The initiative needed absolutely up-to-date technology, which we all had to coordinate, and some of it was rather tricky to acquire.
Acquire?
Buy. Legally and above board, of course. Yes. Sadly, the other Pathfinder vessels were lost when the Scourge hit the Nexus. The Tempest is truly unique.
Tell me something else about the ship.
Her engine's based on the Ark's Odyssey drive, which got us through dark space. The core takes the static electricity it generates and stores it in capacitors. We basically make our own power supply. It took Serena and Tion weeks to get it working on a smaller ship. And a few electrical shocks.
Tell me something else about the ship.
Our aerospace engineer was Tianada Vasmore, a Quarian fellow, and absolutely fearless. Once, some Omega scrap dealer pulled the "we don't sell to Quarians" nonsense. Tion found a workaround.
What did he do?
He glued a memory foam to his environmental suit, then, during the negotiations, leaned against the drive core he wanted, very casual. It made a perfect mold of the components, and the scrap dealer was none the wiser.
I'll let you concentrate.
You know where I'll be.
Ah, Pathfinder. It's so wonderful to meet you. I'm Dr. Suvi Anwar, assigned to act as liaison between your crew and the Nexus Science team.
Welcome to my team. I look forward to working with you.
Likewise. I can't wait to get to work. There hasn't been much to do so far, unfortunately. I've studied all the planetary scans. I've even had some hands-on experience with Helios soil samples. If you want, I'll send you my analysis on the native bacteria and microfauna. 60 pages.
That's a lot of pages. About dirt.
Oh, you don't have to be kind. I know it's barely more than a summary. Anyway, I've waited months to get out there to see Helios. It's why I joined the initiative. The Milky Way was just a corner of a vast universe, a corner of a tiny corner. We're the ones who got to step out of that corner. It's incredible.
I guarded a mass relay for some time. I always wanted to see the other side.
I totally know what you mean.
So will you be joining us on missions?
Oh, that's funny. Me, out there, with the guns and the danger and everything.
Why should that be funny? You seem capable.
Oh, I'm flattered, but no. I have no combat experience. I'd shoot you in the back. Not intentionally, of course. Anyway, I've just received some instructions from the science team, and I really should go over them. Later, then. What's going on?
I take it you work closely with the Nexus Science team?
I try to keep in contact with them. We discuss anything and everything we discover out here. After all, many brains are better than one, and Dr. Aridana is worth 2 or 3 at least. I work best when I have other people to bounce ideas off of.
I'm still fuzzy about how we managed to see Andromeda all the way from home.
It confused me too. I mean, the light lag would have made any data 2 million years out of date. So I asked Dr. Aridana, and she told me, well, it wasn't her tech that did it. It was the Geths.
You're kidding? Those killer robots we had in the Milky Way?
Those exact ones. The initiative obtained data from an array in deep space, a Geth construct. According to Aridana, the Geth rebuilt a mass relay and turned the approach corridor into an FTL sensor.
A what now?
It operated like a telescope, just faster than light. It provided much more up-to-date info. We don't know why the Geth were interested in observing beyond the galaxy, though. Maybe we'll never know.
So I should clarify that this was obviously... let me clarify about... timeline-wise, this group would not have gained the information about the Geth that Shepard gets. You know, like, we have learned more about the Geth, you know, in the previous 3 games with Shepard and Legion and all that. But this group of people don't have that information. Like, as far as they know when they left, that was still the case. Basically what we knew about the Geth back in the first Mass Effect game. Because remember, back in the first Mass Effect game, they were basically the enemy faction that we were going up against alongside Saren and Sovereign. But it was mainly Geth that we fought alongside some other little, you know, a couple other enemy forces. But that was the main enemy we fought. This group of people basically still considers that to be the case, without knowing what we find out later on. So, just in case you're like, why did they say that? Because they don't have that information. Just saying.
Did my dad know about this? Why didn't he tell me?
It's possible he didn't know. The Geth are isolationist and hostile. Using the info, even obtaining it in the first place, probably crossed a lot of boundaries.
How long have you been awake in Helios?
Not as long as some. Missed the entire mess of the uprising, thank heaven. I was defrosted to replace an exiled member of the team. Not that there was much science to do for the longest time.
So what did you do?
Helped wherever I could. Made plans for science we would eventually do. Spent some time on an investigation, figuring out how long the food would last if the worst happened. Who's essential, who's not, who gets what. I don't want to do that again.
I'm so sorry. I can't believe you had to do that.
With no arcs, no pathfinders, we had to plan for the worst.
What do you know about the Scourge?
We established that it's artificial. Someone put it there. Or they did something that caused its creation. We don't know why. That's still a mystery.
I should get back to things.
Sounds good.
Writer, I've attached my paper on Helios soil in case you were looking for some light bedtime reading. Once again, I'm so honored to be here, Suvi. Yeah. It's categorized as spam is now quarantined. And if this is that 60-page, like, summary that she was talking about, I appreciate it, but I'll just kind of tuck it over here for some time later. Just saying, Suvi.
Right,
but thank you anyways.
When you've got a minute, stop by the med bay.
Sure thing, Lexi. By the way, in case you're wondering about my outfit, it's mainly I just changed it to what we call powder blue. I basically just refer to it as Tar Heel blue. What? I'm a North Carolina Tar Heel fan, so.
You're not Harry.
The blue give it away? Habitat 7 was a little more action-packed than Harry bargained for. He decided to spend his retirement years on the Hyperion looking after your sister.
Happy to have you, Dr. DePero.
I'll do my best. Now, hold still.
Ow!
Sorry.
I remember you having a gentler touch.
Still trying to get my bearings. Thought I'd be waking up colonists, not taking care of the Pathfinder.
I couldn't be in better hands.
I just stabbed you.
We all have off days.
I always hoped to work in the field, but everything's happening so quickly.
Focus on the positive. It helps.
I guess this is my opportunity to study alien species firsthand. Getting a Ket specimen aboard the Hyperion would be difficult, but here...
What?
A Ket corpse. For autopsy. A live subject would be better, but I'm not greedy.
Why do you care about the Ket?
Harry didn't tell you? I'm a specialist in alien anatomy. My thesis on Krogan virility and aggression is what got me in the initiative.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pick this only because I recall her having a very funny reaction to it that basically shuts down any possible romance with Lexi.
I had no idea. I'd love to hear more. Over dinner, maybe?
Oh. Thing is, Ryder, you're not my type.
What's your type?
Not a patient. I need to be able to look at you clinically without distractions.
Am I distracting?
Not nearly as much as you think you are. But we were discussing the Ket. An autopsy could teach us potential weaknesses, average lifespan.
Right.
Just something to think about. Sam, make sure the Pathfinder eats his vegetables.
Boo. Don't you dare, Sam.
Feeling okay?
How long have you and Harry been friends?
I remember when he didn't complain about arthritis. We met at a medical convention on the Citadel. He was moderating a panel on neurosurgery in low-gravity environments. His name card was crooked, but he was so damn confident, I knew we'd be friends.
So how did a sorry doctor end up on the human ark?
Specialist in alien anatomy, remember? That includes humans. Also, Harry insisted. Maybe he always intended to switch jobs.
I need to talk to you about something private.
Of course. That's what I'm here for.
When Dad died, he blocked off parts of Sam's memory, things he didn't want me to see.
Or he thought you weren't ready for.
Maybe. I found this trigger. It unlocked a memory fragment of Dad on the Citadel, from when the Alliance rejected his ideas about AI, and he found out Mom's illness was terminal.
Why do you think your father chose this specific memory?
It was where his journey to Andromeda really began.
Those events started your family down a new path.
Yeah. Thanks, Lexi. Feels good to talk about this. I'll let you get back to it.
I'll be here if you need me.
As you can see, there's the facial reconstruction in case I want to change his face or respec. I like that Lexi does basically open herself up to serve as like a therapist for Ryder, or like someone that he can, like one of those kind of like people you can go to and talk about kind of personal things.
I have to watch your radio?
The radio or help Kesh with cleanup. Oh, hey, Pathfinder.
The Pathfinder's there? Let me say hi.
Fine, but don't embarrass me. Ryder, this is Sid, my sister. Sid, Ryder.
Let me guess. Little sister?
Who are you calling little?
Look, kiddo, gotta go.
Wait, Ryder, I just wanted to know if...
So I know it feels like I just jumped aboard your ship without explanation.
I would have done the same just to get off the Nexus.
That's not why I came. Sure, I want to explore the galaxy, but I'm really here to work. I know everyone on the crew, even the actuators Gil prefers for the ship. Better, I know how to get my hands on them. With me around, your crew's going to be at their best. We've been failing for months, Ryder. Now that we have you, we have a chance out here.
So let me just say, I actually do like the romance with Vetra. It's not my favorite romance, but I do like it. I would say if you want to go ahead and pursue a romance with Vetra, I would say go ahead. It's I think it's pretty good. It's not my favorite, like I said, and we'll be romancing Cora on this run, but I have nothing against the Vetra romance, honestly.
We need people with skills, and it sounds like you've got many. Welcome aboard.
Yep, making deals to get the things you want, shooting at the things you don't. That's me. We all have a personal stake in this. If it keeps going the way it's been, we're all dead. I should track down a lead for Gil's actuators. Back channels, you know. We'll chat later?
There was a mod I found that could give probably another cooler looking armor for Vetra. The problem is the way it was designed. The mod was basically saying you have to install it and uninstall it at very specific times, otherwise it can cause technical issues. Well, let's just say I'm not really all that eager to have to go through that. Having to, oh, hold on, I have to stop and uninstall it before it causes issues. Or, oh, wait, now I can install it here. No.
Ryder,
You were on the Nexus when the revolt happened?
when you promise people golden worlds and all they get are wastelands and a death cloud, they riot. Some wanted to go home, some demanded answers, and a couple just wanted to stir shit up.
And you?
Some days I wondered if the exiles had a point. Maybe we were conned into coming here. But why would the initiative go to all this trouble just to screw us over? Thing about conning people, you always know something they don't. And that's why the con works. And if I'm going to pick a side, I'm picking the liars.
You talked about your back channels. What did you mean?
We brought a lot from home. Some of it marked initiative, some of it in personal caches. Most things you want, someone's got. You just have to figure out who, and what they're willing to take in exchange.
That just sounds like you're taking advantage of people.
Is it? I get people what they want, and they do want, or they wouldn't pay.
You're pretty familiar with the ship.
I made sure the technicians had what they needed to keep the Tempest ready and waiting. Leadership wanted to strip her for parts, but I kept saying, a Pathfinder's gonna show up. I like being right.
How did you hear of the Andromeda initiative?
Short answer, Kesh. She was looking for some experimental ship mods, and I knew how to track them down. I thought it was a one-time deal, but she came back. Once, twice. Eventually I figured out something was going on, something big with creds behind it. I asked and she told me about the initiative. New galaxy, new home. Couldn't pass that up.
You probably have work to do. We can chat later.
You know where to find me.
Alright, let's go talk to Liam.
Pathfinder, help me with something? I know, not exactly standard. Gotta make the space comfortable. Plus, the fabric diffuses the charge from an overclocked Omniblade. Not giving up a 6% boost, right?
Someone brought this to Andromeda?
It was new when we left. It's been a hard year. So, finally time for that beer? And after 2 years and a dozen suspensions, I took a lateral promotion out of the force. Being a cop just didn't fit. But crisis response, digging people out of trouble, that worked. I bet Hustle followed you into a few peace actions. Think about your Alliance days much?
I want to point out, like, and we just kind of glossed over that he had 12 suspensions when he was apparently a cop. I would like to know what those suspensions were for. Just saying.
Tell me about your group.
Heavy Urban Search Terrain 1? Yeah. Earth's contribution to a multi-species disaster response unit. HUST-1, but Hustle looks much better on the patch. All civilians, retired vets, or shits like me. I was fiercely bearded. Tastes better just thinking about those days.
I wanted adventure and mystery at the edge of known space. There was so much to see. Seems like a long time ago.
600 years, give or take. So, Pathfinder. Why Andromeda?
That blunt, huh?
That blunt.
No.
I hoped my Alliance career would lead to adventure, exploring, hunting dangers in the dark. Didn't happen. Couldn't. But here, everything's new. And I want to see it all.
I don't hear idealist a lot. Everyone's cynical.
Back at you, Costa. Why'd you come?
I want to say I'm running from my past, but really running from myself. That'd be a great story. But it's bullshit. I had family, friends, a good enough job, nothing was wrong. I just heard about the initiative and I believed in it. I believed in a new beginning. Still do. I have to.
So,
We're in it.
hold on. But if any of you are going, wait a minute, like, about why I said no there, let me be very clear about this. Ignoring that I have no interest in having my characters pursue gay romances. I'm not, against it being there. I'm glad it's there for those who want that there. That's great. I just have no interest in it. But if I don't like the character, I'm not really going to have an interest in romancing them. And as I've said before, I don't like Liam. So, yeah. So, just no. Anytime that comes up, I'm just going to be ignoring that, just in case. And I've already said, we're romancing Cora, and this is not a multiple romance run. We're romancing one person. Even though I would want to romance PB, or show you the PB romance, no, we're going to be romancing Cora.
We can't go back. But we're not trapped by decisions a galaxy behind us.
I don't feel trapped. We came from a good place for good reasons. We keep that in mind or steer us right, just like back in Crisis Response. Remember the essentials. A new start guided by the Pathfinder. And team. I'll bust my tail to make that a good story. Pathfinder?
We barely covered how you joined. Tell me something about yourself.
Alright, I was a bad student, piss poor cop, great responder. Had a good life, but it'd all been done. I wasn't looking to start over. I wanted to start big.
You were a cop, then crisis response? Couldn't have been long in either.
Didn't have the patience for law, so I figured enforcement. Dad knew it didn't fit before I did. But it got me into hustle. They mostly take vets and retired service. Best years of my life.
An impatient rookie frustrated by procedure? That's overdone.
I know, right? I wanted new, and I got it. And that led me here.
Tell me about your family.
I miss the hell out of them. Some nights you just cry, right? That's the thing everyone does. Mom Joelle, Dad Calvin, both lawyers. Met on the Citadel, settled on Earth. No brothers or sisters. That might have been too much to leave. It was traditional. How about you?
Traditional is a weird term for family. Like normal. Who's that describe?
I suppose you're right. I sure didn't keep to tradition. I said goodbye to my mom and dad, and got on a ship to Andromeda.
We'll talk later.
I know it.
Yeah, right away that those are a couple things that just kind of bother me about Liam. The him not being patient part, the him just there are things about that just bother me, rub me the wrong way. And, well, let's just say we see it in action later on in this game as well, especially also in his loyalty mission.
Pathfinder, making the rounds. Slumming it, huh? Want to see how the riffraff are making out?
Hey, it's a dirty job. Are you the riffraff spokesman?
King, actually. You might want to bow. Otherwise, things might start falling off the Tempest at the most inopportune times.
I'll take my chances. Just want to see how things are going with the ship.
I can coax more out of this baby than some might think, but we shouldn't go too far or push too hard between Nexus stops. For now. It just feels good to be stretching our wings, you know? Locked in idle too long, you start to drift. People, same as ships. Stuck on the Nexus, gotta say, I was regretting joining the Initiative.
I doubt you were the only one.
Yes, but it's a new thing for me, regret. I tend to live the way I work. Kind of feel it, do it. Not a lot of close ties, no real sense of purpose. Figured maybe I'd find my true calling in Andromeda. Then I got here and, oops, I just made a decision there's no turning back from. I was going nuts on that station. You can't know how jazzed I was when you showed up.
So basically, the same thing I just said about Liam applies to Gil as well, except that I actually do like Gil a little more than Liam, but not too much, because there are times where Gil does have some good moments, but then there are also times where he actually does kind of annoy me and irritate me. So the same thing I said about Liam basically also applies to Gil, so.
You mean how jazzed you were that a Pathfinder showed up?
Tomato, potato. You just keep pointing this ship wherever you want it to go, and I'll make sure she can get there. Deal?
Deal.
Long time no chat. What's up?
I hear we have you to thank for getting the Tempest space ready so quickly.
Vetra brings her impossible feats to me. I was itching to get this particular call. Capital R ready. Don't tell her, but the truth is, I fudge reports to come in early, then bust ass in secret to make up for it. Expands the Guild legend. Plus, I convey calm and assurance, and the whole team relaxes, which helps them do their jobs better.
Seems like we have a good group here.
Well, Vetra and Suvi are my girls. Get along well. Lots of mutual respect. As far as your Hyperion peeps go, the doc's kinda nosy. Liam's good for a laugh or two. Cora, she's a bit by the book for me.
By the book keeps us alive.
Hey, variety's the spice of life, right? Different strokes makes for healthy debate.
What about Callow?
He's a pilot.
Which means...
He flies the ship.
We're leaving it at that then?
Does a Pathfinder know what to do with a dead end?
How tough has it been on the Nexus all these months?
Have you ever eaten overcooked space cow tongue?
Can't say I have.
Well, let me tell you, it's tough. Wondering if you're gonna die from a critical malfunction? Or maybe starvation? Imagining which would be worse? But hey, you could always take a break from the fear and boredom to dwell on being a part of the biggest failure in galactic history. Maybe even participate in a revolt.
What was your take on that?
I didn't place any bets, if that's what you're asking. Truth is, I don't think anyone made out particularly well. Whatever side you're on, you die a little when your brother, your teammate, becomes an enemy. We traveled all this way, all hope and wonder, and we end up fighting with each other over scraps. It's sad.
What's your social circle like?
I'm good for a laugh, so I know lots of people, but I don't let too many in. My one true friend is stationed on the Nexus. She's the only piece of the Milky Way I brought with me. The more you and I get to know each other, the more you'll probably hear about her.
Good talking to you, Gil.
Anytime.
Okay, I think last but not least is going to be Cora. Right over here.
Nice place you found.
Clean air, plants, helps me think.
Something on your mind?
Maybe.
What the hell was that?
I know that look. It's just my biotics reacting to all this. I don't normally lose it like that. A huntress should have better control.
Huntress?
Another term for an Asari commando. I was one, before the initiative. Some things stick, though. Like losing the old man.
How does a human soldier get to serve with Asari?
Prove your biotics can rip an APC apart, and people get nervous. Funny that. The Alliance found me a cross-species military initiative in a hurry. Sent me to Thessia to serve with the Huntress unit. One of the few places where my powers were welcomed. Your father made another one.
You were his second in command. Were you friends, too?
He was more a mentor than a friend. Prickly old bastard. But I respected that. People treat geniuses like they're made of cut glass. I didn't care how smart he was. I think he liked someone not caring.
I know it's not the same, but I'm a good listener.
I hope you're as good at being Pathfinder. I said I wouldn't get in the way, and I meant it. But I prepped for years as your father's second. Then he chooses you? An untrained Pathfinder and all this mess to fix? The hell was he thinking?
Is this going to be a problem, Cora?
I don't want a rival. Just answers. It's done. Best I can do now is be your second. Keep your father's mission alive. Then maybe we'll
So
all get
the
what we
thing
came
is,
out here
I
for.
don't blame Cora in the slightest for feeling this way. Honestly. Like, as she put it, she trained for years to be the one to take over for him, to be a worthy successor in case something were to happen. And then she gets passed up for someone who wasn't trained for that. And if I was in her position, I couldn't help but wonder, was it because of me? Did he just not trust me? Was I not good enough? Was I not ready? And if she's thinking this, I don't blame her in the slightest for feeling that way and just having these thoughts and wondering, not necessarily about Ryder, or rather Scott, and whether or not he's capable, but more so about herself. Because as we come to discover throughout time with her, and especially also on her loyalty mission, she tends to second guess herself quite a bit. And she has some interesting growth and development about whether or not she actually would have been a good Pathfinder had she been chosen instead of Scott. It's one of the things I really like. And one of the reasons why the romance with Cora appeals to me is I like that they kind of start at this point where at first, before this, they were probably just, friends because his dad was mentoring her and she was his dad's second and such. So they probably knew each other that way, probably not too close, but they're like, yeah, we're pals. But nothing ever really came of it or more than that. And then this event kind of brings them together in a way they didn't expect. And like she said, she wasn't looking for a rival or wanting a rival. She just wants answers. She just wants to know why. Why was he chosen instead of her? Why was she passed up? And again, I can't blame her for thinking and feeling this way. And it's just nice to see that they go from this point where they could be on the verge of becoming rivals, because Cora could have really let this eat away at her and really bother her to grow to the point of resentment towards Scott and just complete disdain towards him, because she could have felt like maybe she was more deserving, that she was more capable of doing this job than he was. But it never reaches that point. She is able to be a little bit more humble and control. And by the time we get to the loyalty mission, she has a pretty strong realization about why Scott being chosen was probably the better decision instead of her being chosen. And then to see them kind of grow from that into an actual full-on romance where they've gone from this point to actually truly caring for each other to the point where they actually fall in love with each other, I think is actually a really appealing aspect of the story. But that's just me. I've heard some people are not fond of Cora, not fond of the Cora romance, but, to each their own.
You, me, side by side? I like the sound of that.
Don't be charming when I'm mad at you.
Are you? You're not glowing. Blushing, maybe.
Look, there's still the mission. A lot of dreams to fulfill.
So what brought you out to Andromeda?
Biotics like this. Thinking like an Asari huntress. I never had a place. Best I could be was a useful freak. The initiative was meant to be different. Will be different if this mission succeeds. So I'm seeing it through. It's quiet in here. I can keep the plants watered while I work. First job, see if there's any news on the Asari Ark. If they made it, we could use some Asari expertise. If you want to talk, I'll be here. Hi there.
Did you come out here with anyone? Maybe someone you served with?
I had my fun on shore leave. Nothing serious, though. Asari huntresses figure things out, but I was there for soldiering, not romance.
You're not technically military anymore.
Can't get anything past you, can I?
You were in the Alliance before you became a huntress, right? What made you join up?
My biotics. I was still living on my parents' cargo freighter when they manifested. Untrained biotic power on a starship means accidents, but we couldn't afford a tutor. The Alliance had implants, the training, everything. Old history now. Your turn. Remind me why you came to Andromeda.
I spent years watching pioneers go through the Arcturus mass relays. Off to glory, while I stayed behind. Then Dad's career collapsed. His AI research made him too toxic.
I heard. Must have changed everything for your family.
We needed to start over somewhere new together. Or as together as we could. So, Andromeda.
None of you writers ever think small, do you?
What did you do while you were part of the Asari military?
4 years in a commando unit called Ta Lane's Daughters. Part of the Council's cross-species military integration initiative. You probably had a more exciting time defending that Arcturus relay. But we did good work. Peacekeeping is a full-time job, even in Asari space.
What was your commando unit like?
Janae and I were the youngsters. Tethys was our old lady sniper. Kalia patched us up, and Valenza prayed between firefights. Our CO, Nasira, led us all over the Athena Nebula and beyond. A huntress's work is never done.
Every civilization needs its defenders.
And the defenders usually match their civilization, like Asari huntresses being adaptable as hell. Makes you wonder what our militia will look like in 100 years.
After 4 years with Asari commandos, you must have some great war stories.
Nasira assassinated a Krogan warlord with a pack of playing cards once.
A pack of cards?
Choking hazard, apparently.
Wow. Any more commando war stories?
Always liked Janae. She was only 200, and with me around, she wasn't the kid anymore. She was a biotic protege. I once saw her yank an AA gun right off its housing, crushed a gang of slavers with it.
Ouch.
They didn't feel it for long. Janae was a good friend. Maybe she still is back there. Won't be a kid now, though.
See you later, Cora.
I'll be here.
All right. So I'm going to mess around with the little kiosks here, and when we return, we will be going about exploring strange new worlds, and yeah, you know, we'll be going to Eos and figure out what's going on over there. Stay tuned.